Good afternoon, my beautiful fucking witches, my beautiful fucking stoners, and everyone in between. Welcome to Witchy Weekend's episode two, dos, whatever you want to call it. We have our witchy panel coming in as we speak. Welcome, Chicha. How you doing, baby? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I think you're on mute, honey. Or no, maybe I'm on mute. Never mind. That's not me. That's not you. That's me. That's not you. That's me. Madam T in the house.
Hey.
Hey. Hello, White Tupac. How are you, sweetheart? Welcome to the fucking chat, baby. Today, what the fuck is Witchcraft on our very brand new weekly Witchy Weekends episode. Basically, we're talking about energy today. So, yeah. What's up, ladies? Wonderful. I'm glad you're good, sweetheart. I'm glad you're good. So, yeah. Let's see here. Let's start this off with a hit, shall we? Cheers to Witchy Weekend episode 2. Thank y'all for being here. Those that are coming later and those that are here now.
Yeah.
Glad to be a part of it. Cheers.
Cheers.
You got ready. I love the blue hair. Thank you, sweetheart. I gotta wear these wigs, you know. I've got a slew of them. It's time to start putting them into action, right? Dank brownies. Hello, Betsy. Hello, sweetheart. Zeppelin. Hello. Look at everybody coming in here. All right, so we have a special treat for you, beautiful stoners in chat. We have a Witchy Weekends. This is new to my channel. And I appreciate you being here, but we are talking witchy today. Welcome, Cam. I did not say welcome yet, and I apologize for that.
Okay. Thank you for having me here. I'm excited.
Yay. All right, so what are we talking about today, ladies? What was that again? Energy?
Energy.
Yes, your power.
Your powers.
All about your personal connection with source, energy, and also highlighting that you can call it whatever you want. It doesn't I can't use the word. Is invalidate a word? Yeah, invalidate. It doesn't invalidate your connection just because it's not the same connection or just description of connection as somebody else.
Exactly. So we all have our own path, our own way, and our own opinion of what we call things, of how we do things, of everything. That's why we love witchcraft, because we can cater it to what the fuck we want to do.
Yes.
So yeah, basically, honestly, we want to kind of get into energy because this is kind of one of those basic things that needs to be known and learned before you kind of start to get into the craft, into the path. Even if you don't want to do spell work, honestly, you still want to tap into energy because you want to be able to ground yourself. You want to be able to be in touch with your own energy, for one, and know what's going on, how to feel it, where it's coming from, how to expel it, all those things. So yeah, that's what we're here to tell you today. And we've got all kinds of people in chat right now. Look at all you beautiful fucking people and souls out there. Larissa, Jackie, Mark, Tilly.
Oh, hi, Tilly.
Yay.
So good.
Okay, so yeah, energy is the basics, and I'll start it off by saying, really, the one thing that you want to do with tapping into energy and just really kind of figuring out where and how to feel it, because that's kind of where we want to start today, is, I always say meditate. Really, that's the first thing you really want to do, because that's the best thing you can do to go inside yourself and feel yourself. And I know a lot of people out there is like, I can't fucking meditate because I can't sit still for 5 minutes, or I can't think about not think about something for 30 seconds or whatever. But it doesn't have to necessarily be like that, because you just need to kind of, even if your mind's going all over the place, you still need to feel what your body is doing. And that's where you start to feel where that energy is coming from. And that's where you start to feel how to tap into that energy. So that's where I'm going to start it off. And I'm going to see who wants to take it from there. Mhm.
All right.
Don't everybody go at once now.
I love you guys so much, and I just want to also point out that you guys are so respectful and amazing. All of us just want to give each other a chance to speak. That's why we all just wanted to be like, ooh, like, who wants to go? I love that. Appreciate you guys for that. So I think that's so important. I like how you worded that, Amber, because it's true. Like, I actually thought the same thing. The first time that I had ever truly meditated was in a group sound bath healing meditation. And I didn't understand what they meant until I was literally sobbing my eyes out, releasing all of this shit that I didn't even know was there in front of all of these strangers, because I was so in my own world. I had finally gotten to a place where I wasn't sitting there in my mind like, oh, they're watching me. For the first time in my life, I was in a place where I didn't even know they were there. Like, I was so inside of myself and in my shit at that time that it just, so meditation is all about breathing and coming back. Like, you can't ward away all of the thoughts. You just have to acknowledge them, acknowledge their place, acknowledge their effect on you, and let them go wherever they need to go. If you try to banish a thought, it's going to get heavier and heavier and heavier. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, it's always just like inhale the good, exhale the bad.
Mm-hmm. And
kind of like cleanse yourself and just breathe in that goodness and get rid of that bad.
And acknowledge all of the parts of yourself that you don't want to feel. Like, when you're meditating and you start to feel like negative thoughts, or you start to feel really uncomfortable, like, acknowledge that, bask in it, feel what that feels like. Why are you uncomfortable? What is going to lead you to comfort?
Right.
And guys, there's some other things that, that we can consider. Like, for me, I had tried to meditate for many, many years, and it wasn't until I was actually at a retreat was the first time I ever actually meditated. And then the second time was right after powerlifting. I had just finished heavy squat day and was on the rower, and just that motion got me into that state, and it cleared my mind. Because not everybody experiences meditation the same way. Not everybody experiences spirituality the same way. So a lot of times, for people who may have difficulty connecting to some vague out there woo-woo power thing that they've never heard of, it's always best, and this is actually true with most things in life, it's always best to go inside first.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so for people who may have difficulty being like, I can't just sit here for fucking 5 minutes and close my eyes and whatever, and I'm just it doesn't work for me. An option for people who struggle with that is to find a task that mimics returning to the breath, because that's what's happening in meditation. You're breathing and your mind goes, oh, I got to pay that bill. And you're like, oh, wait, no, I got to go back to my breathing. Okay. And then it's like, oh, my dog, shat all over the carpet or whatever, whatever. The brain is constantly going to go, excuse me. And the meditation is about returning to the breath, returning to that space. So finding a physical activity that you can do, like one of my favorite fictional characters from a book series polishes, when he needs to meditate, when he needs to clear his mind, he polishes a piece of railroad track. And you could polish silver. You could do something, and you'll see like walking meditation gardens and stuff like that, where you can actually walk thoughtfully and purposefully. So combining a motion with your breathing, for a lot of people who can't just switch their mind off, that's actually an excellent way to get into meditation.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Active meditation is I believe what they call it.
Yeah.
But that's you don't have to close your eyes and sit style.
Yeah.
Not
You think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing, is the position. You do not have to be in a seated position to meditate. You can literally be laid out on the floor in corpse pose, like straight chilling. Like you can be standing up, you can be exercising, like you can be anywhere.
You can be lying on your back looking at the clouds, but finding shapes in the clouds. That's actually a form of meditation.
Because it doesn't matter where your body is. It matters where your mind is. It matters where you're going within yourself, not where you're out at on the outside. Your surroundings.
It brings you into complete focus. And this kind of starts to tie in with grounding and feeling our power. I really wanted to touch on this with feeling power, because I remember when I was younger hearing about witchcraft and people talking about, oh, that power that you feel. And I'm like, what power that you feel? Like, you know, I was like, I can't be a witch because I don't feel special. I don't feel anything. There's no like, woo, I don't get tingly sensations and all this other stuff. And that is something that was really, really important, that I want people to know, that it doesn't always turn on all at once. It's there. Right. And magic happens in many different ways. It's not, for me, I do now. Now I have a tingling in my palms and that radiates over my hands. But before that developed for me, I would see magic out in nature. And I used to call magic by another name, but it would be something like whenever I was struggling with an emotional decision, all of a sudden dragonflies would appear. And I would get that calming sensation. I'm like, okay, everything's going to be okay. Everything's good. It's all going to work out. That's magic.
Yeah.
You know, and it's learning to recognize magic in my environment that allowed me to then feel it within myself, because I was not born into a witchy lineage. I know virtually nothing about my birth family. So for me, it's been, you know, I don't know that any of us here had that kind of lineage that we were raised with. So coming to learn your power, coming to feel it, coming to recognize it, it takes different shapes and forms for every individual. So for those of you, if you're tuning in live now, or if you are watching later on, the way that you receive your messages is valid. Simple as that.
Right. Definitely.
Definitely. And then once you can start to feel that, I had an experience where I did a shamanic breathwork journey, which is something we'll talk about way down the line there. And in this process, in my mind, it was a drug-free event, stimulant-free, medication-free event. In my mind, I was shown, and for those of you who don't know me, I live my life with examples from 90s action movies and then just like movies in general, and some books. But for me, there's and I think it's X-Men Apocalypse. Magneto pulls up all the metal that's in the ground with his hands. And so he's like throwing it up in the sky, and it's a very, very poignant scene. It's very, very beautiful, very heartbreaking. But when I had this journey, that's what my mind saw. In my mind's eye, I saw myself pulling magic from the earth like that, pulling energy and manipulating it in my hands and sending it out. And at that point, knowing that I had been drug-free for 7 years, you know, I had no stimulants in my body. There was nothing. I knew this was completely natural. That's when I decided to start to pursue it. But magic didn't always look like that for me. It used to look like just a random clustering of dragonflies. So wherever messages that you're getting right now, they're valid. And if you just literally make the statement, you know, I'm open to seeing more magic in my life. That's it. And that will open the doorway for you to literally experience more magic and to be able to recognize it in your life. So if you have no idea where to start, that's a good place. Just saying, hey, I'm ready to see more magic in my life. And you just say it out loud and your intention's out there, and do that and come back next week in the comments and tell us what your experience has been. I'd be really, really interested to see that.
Right. How much magic actually came your way? How much energy and magic came your way when you opened yourself up to seeing it? Yeah. Absolutely. Because that's a big part too, honestly, is opening yourself up and believing what you're seeing. Belief is huge. I mean, it's belief at knowing your power, at knowing you have power, at knowing what your power can do, how far your power can go. You have to believe that you have it and that it's there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
The most important sentence I can that I feel like also helps sum that up is simply energy follows intention. Always.
Oh yeah, for sure.
100%. And I also want to touch back up on what Larissa had just said a little, yes, law of attraction, and what she had just said about practice. Like, practice makes better. The more you practice something, the more you become acquainted. And that's always been a struggle for me, because I've always been a jump right into the bigger picture type of person. Like, detail work hurts my brain so badly. But coming into kind of a meditative state with life kind of shows me that, like, progress, like going to school helped me show that. Like, I didn't think I was making any progress until one day I'm like, wow, this isn't bothering me anymore. I'm not having a panic attack when I'm touching a human being. Like, oh my God. And so it's like those aha moments where you realize that you were making slow progress the whole time. You just didn't notice. So it's like, that's the same thing with training the brain. I try to make it a point to reword, like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Abraham Hicks. She's an amazing channel, Esther Hicks on YouTube. Love her. But she kind of checked me and had me, like, in my daily thought processes, kind of checking myself and being like, okay, well, how can I reword that sentence to bring a higher vibration? And it creates such a difference in your perspective and in your life when you realize the subtle differences of, I think I know. I know.
Right.
I am. Thank you that I am.
Right.
Bringing gratitude into your knowledge, into your faithfulness. So important.
Yes, definitely.
And okay, you just hit on a key word there, gratitude. Gratitude is, I'm not sure if one of us has said that yet, but that is also, did you say, okay, I wasn't sure. I was doing different things and I wasn't sure. But gratitude is huge.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
You have got to be grateful about what you are and have in everyday life. Like, you cannot just kind of take and not be grateful for it. Like, really, like, I no other way for me to be able to really say it, because once you feel that gratefulness, once you feel that love, that amazing feeling, that's what that vibration is. That, for me, that's that tingly feeling that goes up and down your body. It gives me fucking chills and goosebumps, and it just literally sweeps from head to toe. And that is my vibration, because I feel so fucking loved and so grateful at everything I have. I mean, I have my fucking life, for God's sakes.
Right.
Especially in these times alone, with being in a pandemic, you have your life.
Right.
That is one main thing to be grateful for.
Oh, definitely. It goes back to, what you put, what you put out comes back to you. If you put out good, it's going to come back to you good, and it comes back to you 10 times fold or 3 times fold, however you want to look at it. So if you're putting out bad, it's going to just turn around and come back to you bad.
Yes, absolutely. Whatever vibrations go out, good or bad, they're going to come back.
That's huge, because when you become grateful, your entire vibration changes, and the things that you're attracted to and the things that are attracted to you change. I mean, I can say that, having experienced so much with being, I actually learned a lot about gratitude in a 12-step program. And it entirely changed my life. Once I started to live my life through gratitude, which wasn't just remembering to be grateful, but like, gratitude's an action word, is one of the phrases of some of the 12-step programs.
Right.
And I mean, that's very true. Once I start living my life in a grateful manner, I tend to become more humble naturally. And that gratitude is the biggest thing that has changed my life. And then when I stopped focusing on the things that were negative, the things that I did not like in my life, and was like, what do I want for myself in the future? And when I did that, paired that up with the gratitude, you know, my life has expanded tremendously in ways I could not possibly imagine. But there's one thing I want to say before I forget. We've talked about like sensing our magic, being able to recognize magic, and we've talked about meditation. But something that's very, very important, because if you guys haven't kind of seen yet, what we want to do is take everyone on this journey of witchcraft, and we want to be able to eventually get to the point with you guys where we talk about spell work and things like that. So we're kind of like leading up to that, if you haven't noticed. So I think it's really, really important that while we still have some time, we really get into grounding techniques and some protection things that the average person can do without looking like a total fucking psycho.
Right.
I
don't know.
Thank you so much for mentioning that, because like, for example, I do massage therapy. That's my line of work. And I don't know if you guys can notice from that, but it is a very up close and personal job, and you get right up in this person's aura, you know, right up in their auric field. And so one of the most important things that I've ever learned is how to ground and protect, like in that moment, right then and there, in your own space, without anyone even really noticing, you know? And for me, that comes in various forms. I like to make myself little elixirs and potions and little sprays, like, but when it comes to just energy, like when it comes to just like right then and there in that moment, I call on my angels. I like to call on Reiki crystal. I like to call on spirit, and just have that intention that right here in this moment, my space is cleared.
Right.
So real quick, I got a question for anybody who may not know. If you guys could fill us in here real quick, what is grounding and why is it important?
Are you asking us or the
Yep,
people?
I'm asking you three.
Oh, you're asking. I thought you were asking. I was like, okay, tell us.
Sorry.
I didn't want to take over.
Pop quiz.
I'm just a baby witch, I promise.
For me, grounding is grounding in my love and in kind of just like the laws of the universe. Like I ask to ground in the highest good. That's what I ask to personally ground to Mother Gaia, to my heart center, to the highest good of everything, so that I am moving heart forward.
So when you say ground, though, what exactly do you mean?
When I say ground, I mean connect to this physical earth plane that I am on right now. Because a lot of times I'm living up here in the ethers, and I gotta ground, I gotta be here in this physical reality, in my body, in my bones, paying attention to everything that's going on in my environment, feeling rooted.
Yes, definitely.
I just feel like it's important to know that you can ground not only into your earth plane, but you can ground into your heart center. You can ground into your foundation, whatever that means for you.
Right.
That's really cool. Chicha, what does grounding mean for you, and what does that look like for you?
Grounding for me, really, sometimes I love just going out in nature and just kind of just taking it all in and just asking to just kind of clarify me, like let me walk all this negativity and just let me have a clear mind and clear heart and just go forward. Yeah, that's pretty much what I like to do. Sometimes I like to take a bath, and as it's draining, I lay in there and I just like let that just take it all away. Just take it all away. So yeah. Or even like drinking coffee. When you're brewing that coffee and that smell, you like take in that smell and just like settle, like, you know, okay. Breathe in the good, exhale the bad.
Nice.
You know, like, yeah, exactly. That's just a few things. I mean,
what about you, Amber?
What do I do? Well, what it means to me is basically really connecting to everything within myself. That's what grounding is to me. Connecting to everything within myself and knowing where my energies are and where I need more energy, where I need to expel energy. I have too much energy, and how I ground. I sometimes I'll just dance to music, to be honest with you.
That's a good one too. That's a good one too.
I mean, you know, because it brings you in tune with your body and who you are as a person and who I am as a person, at least, and in my opinion, for me. I lay and listen to frequencies a lot in regards to like meditation and sometimes sleeping frequencies, but any frequency that'll kind of put you on a different plane, if you will, and try to like give you a different, you know, that I just close my eyes and listen and ground myself to those. And every single time I ground, I grind. I almost said grind.
You're grinding? Oh, hey.
Earth.
Oh shit. Every time I ground, I envision my energy within myself. And a lot of times it does, and everybody kind of visualizes their energy being in one place or another. Usually it's one place, sometimes it's a couple different places, but it is definitely what's the word I'm thinking of? Congregated. There's a better word than that. I'm sorry, I'm losing my words right now, but to one place. And
right, that's a good one.
And you've heard this before, if you've seen meditation videos or follow meditation videos or blah, blah, blah. But I feel that energy go down to the core, connect, and come right back up and flow through me and give me what I need. So that's how I vision myself grounding. But through that, I feel every single part of me and what's going on.
Excellent.
And connect. So.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and share a little bit about my experience with it. Like I just said a little bit ago, since I didn't come from a medical background, I came from a very real world application background. And for me, I learned about grounding inadvertently at a very young age, and it's one of my favorite examples of grounding ever. It's actually in the very first Die Hard movie. John McClane doesn't like flying, right? So he gets where he's going, and he takes off, and it talks about this in the movie. It talks about he takes off his socks and his shoes. He puts his feet on the ground, and he makes fists with his toes in the carpet. And it's actually a very effective grounding technique because what it's doing is it's bringing his physical sensation to his feet, to his present moment. And I went through some things and developed post-traumatic stress disorder, and I've done like a lot of different counseling techniques over the years. And that is a very, very effective way. If anyone experiences panic attacks, that's also a very effective way to almost immediately bring yourself out of the panic attack. The buzzing that you feel all over your body will stop, and you will come back to the present moment if you can ground. Now, there's times where you're not going to be able to take off your socks and shoes and ground in a situation where you might need to. So one that I discovered personally for myself was even if my hands were in my pockets, I would make the OK symbol. And then I would just touch fingertip to fingertip. And in the beginning, depending on how stressed out I was in the moment, it would be very, very quick. And then I could kind of like work myself down. So that was my introduction to grounding. And something else, one example that one of my teachers gave to me, this is excellent. If you've ever seen like videos of animals being attacked in the wild and then getting away, something always happens. They shake themselves off. Like they might be stunned for a second, but they literally shake it off and run the fuck away. And as humans, we can actually do that too, which is why, Amber, I smiled so big when you were talking about dancing it out, because that's the same thing. You're physically moving that energy out of you. If you sing, dance, if you create anything, even photography, you're shooting all of that out of you. So I don't know. That's a little bit about that. So you've got some different grounding techniques. And the reason why we're talking about this, the reason why this is important, is because we want to make sure that you have the skills and the tools that you need to keep yourself safe if you do decide to go ahead and practice witchcraft. And also, if it's something you're not even interested in practicing, just a little more knowledge to help.
Right.
Thank you so much for that. And honestly, even if you don't practice witchcraft, but you have this awareness of energetic patterns and frequencies, you're automatically going to be more sensitive than your average Joe. Meaning you're going to pick up on things from other people. So whether you want anything to do with it or not, it's going to help you to be able to recognize and be able to transmute. So I also think a really important thing for you guys to know is you're not necessarily you can't destroy any energy. You can get it away from you, but what you're doing is you're transmuting it. You're using alchemy. You're consciously turning something negative into something positive. I like to imagine that in my massage room. Or just when I'm anywhere, like when I'm having a panic attack. Like I used to work at a really shitty restaurant, excuse my language, but I'm not kidding when I cried every single day. I don't know why. I was so sensitive, and I would mess up somebody's order and they would yell at me and I'd go in the bathroom and cry. So what I started doing before my shifts was in my car on my way, I would literally sit there and I would do dragon breaths and fire breaths. I would be like do like 3 of those.
That's a
and then do some fire breathing, and I would just literally imagine. I would be like, okay, so I would also, Archangel Michael is he's a good protection angel to call on if you guys are into angels. But in general, I like to be like, okay, I am imagining that I can see my force field, I can see my aura, and anything that enters it is automatically turned into positive, useful, intellectual, assertive energy. And when I did that, my shifts would be so different. I would be able to turn it around in an instant. Someone would say something and I would be able to instantly be like, oh, okay, well, I understand that. Okay, let's do this. Like, instead of having like an automatic reaction of like anxiety or anger or sadness, it would just be that observation of it and just instantly transmuted. Just have that knowledge that it's going to be, and it will. Energy follows intention.
Yes, for sure.
Yes.
And how much energy you put into it.
And the whole, if you guys are more physical type of people, you press here on your chest, it actually triggers your adrenals between your rib cages, between your ribs. And so that's like a nice thing to do, like little motions there.
Thanks.
Take it from the massage therapist, guys, for sure.
Techniques have saved my life, like, not kidding. Like, because in moments where you can't do anything, you're in a room with them, you can't get away, you can't go take a breather out back. No, you have to ground right there in that moment.
Right.
And
Yeah,
you guys
you have no choice but to go forward. So protect yourself, ground yourself and your energy so that you can.
Because what if one of you is in an important work thing and you start getting a panic attack? Like, you can solve that right there in that moment. You have the power.
So does anybody in the comments have any questions about anything we talked about today, or any questions in general? Because there's still more.
Yeah. I mean, we could
kind of want to be like checking in with you guys. How are you guys doing?
Right? I mean, should we smoke? How about we do a cheers?
Yeah,
cheers?
I've been smoking today the whole time, but I'm gonna do a dab since we're gonna do it together.
I need to get a nail.
Yeah, that does.
Need to get a nail for sure.
That's silly. I am obsessed, you guys. I'm obsessed with taking baths. I love bath bombs. I love bath salts. I make my own bath salts. I love it. I channel very well in the bath.
T, I know this works to help you get in your power, bathing, showering. Oh, okay. Is that what you just read to say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grounding, can you use a totem of sorts? Yes, absolutely. You can use a totem of sorts. If whatever grounds you, if there's a crystal or a totem, anything, if it grounds you and you feel better with it in your hands and that cleanses you and that's what you feel it does, then use it because that's what it's doing for you. It's about your belief. Remember, you believe that it's doing that. So that is exactly what it's going to do.
I would just one thing with using totems. And Tilly just commented on it right there. They do need to be regularly cleansed. And also, and you can do that if you're unfamiliar with how, if the substance can tolerate liquid, you can actually, you guys, you can use this right here. You can use Florida water to help cleanse it. You can also smoke cleanse it. And when I say that, I mean you can hold this in light sage and put the sage smoke around it. You can do the same with incense smoke. You can do the same with weed smoke if you want to.
Exactly. But, I mean, yeah.
You got the 4 elements.
Like any others. It has its own energy.
It's a craft. It's not a rule book.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Good evening, Stealth Grower, and everybody in chat that we haven't specifically said hi to. Thank you for being here. Everybody, thank you for being here.
Yes,
those that have come and gone, and those that are here now, and those that will come again.
Are we ready?
I feel like an elf and fucking Lord of the Rings right there.
One last thing on grounding. I also want to say, guys, also something super simple you probably don't even think about. Eating fucking food. Excuse my language. Food
yeah,
is,
I can agree with that.
I know that I'm not fully ground sometimes when I realize I haven't eaten for half the day and I'm just like shaking. I'm like, well, I'm not very grounded. Let's fly away.
You almost feel you feel empty. Like, you know, it's like, you know, you got to fill your car. It's like you got to fill yourself. You got to put that gas in yourself. You got to put that energy back into yourself, you know?
Yes, that is very good. And sometimes, you know, you have those cravings for things. Maybe you have the craving for something healthy. That's your body telling you quit eating bullshit.
Exactly.
Listen to your fucking body, y'all. Listen to your body. It's not telling you something for no fucking reason.
That gut feeling, whether it's food or something or a person, whatever that gut feeling, listen to it. Listen to it.
Your gut is yelling at you right now. No.
Sorry.
Piss the fuck off.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Are we ready?
All right. Dabs up or whatever you fucking got. Let's do it. Ooh, I can cut off fire for a second.
Yes. I won't cough. I won't.
Ooh, yeah. That's yummy. A symphony of coughs. That's when you know it's a stoner channel.
Right?
We're all dying.
Nobody's sick.
It's not not COVID cough, it's canna cough.
Right?
Woo!
I also just want to say you all look so beautiful. Didn't say that at the beginning. Kind of just jumped right in.
I did. I jumped right in. Thank you, darling.
You're very welcome.
And you too. You're kind of in the dark a little bit, but we can see you, and you're beautiful as always.
Hello. You seem better now.
I love it.
Oh,
yes, baby.
Sorry. Okay. Any more questions, guys? On
yes. Let's see.
I know.
Well, if there aren't any more questions, we can talk about altars.
Yes, I was just going to say, I wrote down what we have in mind here. So, yeah, altars is what we can talk about for show.
What do you got
start out here with?
No intended. Sorry.
So let me start out by saying that I have been practicing for 2.5 years, and I only just made myself an altar. Okay. Only just in the last 6 months, probably. So with that, you do not need an altar. Do not feel that you have to have an altar, because that is based on how you feel you want to do your craft. If you don't want to have an altar, or you're in the broom closet and you can't have an altar, or you have no room for an altar, that's not a problem. Or if you really want to have an altar and you can't do those things, you can do something as simple as fucking putting something on a windowsill and using that as an altar. So I just want to start with that I didn't have one for years.
Well, I was gonna say I really like that intro, and it is very important to know that with all things with witchcraft, it is a craft. You do not have to have all of these tools to be able to practice. It does not make you a better witch or anything ridiculous like that. That's not true.
Yes. I'm so sorry to interrupt my mom, my dear Madam T, but we have another witch in the house.
Oh, do we?
We fucking do.
There she is.
Hello, my beautiful witches of my coven.
Our beautiful witch Tilly is here. Yes, I'm so excited. Welcome, Tilly. This is her first time on panel. This is only episode 2, but she was not here episode 1. But welcome, my lovely, lovely Tilly. So, yes.
Hi, guys. I've been at work trying to watch you and keep up with the conversation, as much as I can. I came home from work and I was like, gotta hop on with the coven.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome.
Well, real quick, Tilly, why don't you give us a little bit of a background of your practice or how you came to know yourself in this practice? Just give us like a quick little backstory so we can get to know you and everyone can get to know you better.
Great. So I am 22 years old, but I've pretty much been doing witchcraft for as long as I can remember. My mom is a practicing pagan witch, and my dad definitely had a lot of pagan witchy tendencies as well. I would identify myself as sort of eclectic, but my background is Germanic Jewish, so I actually incorporate a lot of Germanic Jewish practices into my craft. I don't necessarily prescribe to Judaism as a religion, but definitely it's part of my culture, so I definitely include that in my craft. But I love crystals, I love plants, I love herbs, I love it all. And that's pretty much it. But I've been practicing forever. Totally runs in the family.
I love that. So we have a lot of us have started our practice, our craft, and our path kind of along our life, what's happened in our life. And Tilly, and I love Tilly's one of the few in our coven that have pretty much been doing it her whole life. So not the only one in our coven that has been. So I love the amazing energy that Tilly brings everywhere she goes. So.
Oh, I love you guys.
Yes.
We all can learn from each other. There's so much to know. There's so much you can do with witchcraft. You can call anything in the world witchcraft if you want to. I make my coffee in the morning and I'm like, witchcraft, Yeah,
definitely. Me too.
Definitely.
All of the love in each component. You're really putting love and light and intention into this coffee to go into your body to heal you, and it really does, and it's such a thing. And it's you can do that. I love that with gardening too. Tilly is the plant queen over here, so I want to hear about that. But yes, you can put intention into anything, and it's beautiful.
Aw, love
Yeah,
you.
it's all about intention. Definitely. I mean, you can, and that's just it. It's speaking of energy, and I know we're going back on it and we're going to get into altars, but real quick on energy, you can do the simplest thing and not realizing that you're doing a ritual. and your daily ritual, your daily ritual of getting in the shower and brushing your teeth, and you do it the same way and the same thing every day. That is a fucking ritual.
Yep.
And all you have to do in that ritual to change it into something witchy is give it intention. That is fucking it.
There is one thing that most Americans do, or that many, I would say probably a majority of Americans do every single year, that they may not realize is incredibly witchy. That's every single birthday they make a wish and blow out the candles.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That is
true.
literally witchcraft.
I never thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
Literally witchcraft.
You all have taken part, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, that's how pervasive and underlying streams of witchcraft are in our culture here.
Yes. Yeah.
Definitely.
More and more people are sort of starting to acknowledge those kind of roots, or kind of accept witchcraft and paganism, and calling things what they are, as especially as millennials and Gen Z move further and further away from traditional religion, such as like Christianity or Catholicism, where you go to a church and you do this, you do that. They're kind of moving towards something more independent, which I think has been really interesting to see as I've come to age, and even as I've been practicing for so long. It's been really interesting to see the evolution there.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so I think Madam T was about to talk about some altar stuff, was she not?
Yeah. Well, actually, now that we've got Tilly here,
Okay.
I was wondering, Tilly, you mind taking a softball?
Sure. That means, but I love it.
Okay. So basically, we were. I was just gonna talk about what altars are and all the different kinds, from permanent to travel to all of the stuff. So, all you, babe.
Yeah, altars, that's another one of those things, just like anything in witchcraft. It's pretty much up to you how you want to do it. It's generally, an altar is basically just any space where you practice your craft. It can really be any surface. It can be the floor. It can be in your bed. It can be anything. It can be a handkerchief you pull out of your pocket and lay out and practice on. It can just be this simple space around you. It has no, definition of what it has to be. It's just anywhere where you kind of feel safe practicing. It's a really spiritual area for most witches, where they feel like they can definitely focus in and get in their power a little bit. For me, my altar I don't always practice at my altar, but for like a little bit more involved rituals, or if I'm crafting a specific item, like a spell sachet or jar or whatever it might be, I'll do it at my altar. And when I say altar, it's quite literally just my little dresser here. It's basically like the top of my dresser. I have some crystals. I have like a candle holder. I've got some crushed eggshells right now. But it changes constantly. I'm just constantly moving things in and out, depending on what I'm doing. And sometimes I'll decorate it based on what time of the year it is, or around certain pagan holidays, because I do like to follow the wheel of the year, which is just, it's just an organization for pagan holidays. It's sort of like a pagan holiday calendar.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a celebration of the changing of seasons that has been happening since pretty much, I don't know, let's just call it the dawn of time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or the dawn of conscious humans, because that's, and to be honest with you, all of the holidays that you see today are all taken from all of the pagan holidays that have been in existence before the religious holidays were created. You have Christmas that was, I'm terrible at names, you guys. Don't let me take the fucking don't let me take the fucking New Year. That is not where I need to be, because I forget names bad.
Yeah.
But everything was taken from.
Yeah.
Go for it, baby. Sorry.
Yeah, like Christmas would basically be Yule, Valentine's Day, there's like a pagan version of it. Halloween is, obviously Samhain. Beltane is like, celebrated as like May Day around the world. So yeah, most of our holidays definitely have those roots. Not all witches follow that. I think it's like a primarily Wiccan thing. However, many other witches follow it. Anyone can really follow the Wheel of the Year. It's not a closed practice. It's open to anybody to kind of
It's
follow
just like
these.
Christmas.
Yeah,
There's people who aren't Christians who have Christmas.
exactly.
Same thing.
Right.
Yeah, it's not necessarily closed. It's not like, oh, you're not Wiccan, so you can't practice this. Anyone's welcome to celebrate these holidays as they're just simple representations of the changing of seasons and the solstices and what's going on in the sky, basically.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
So
that's
we
what's going on my altar. I don't always decorate it. Sometimes I'm lame. You can pretty much decorate it any way you want. A lot of people like to represent the seasons, but yeah, I don't know what you guys do with your altars. I don't really have an altar cloth either. I just have it's like a piece of lace tablecloth kind of thing that I laid down, but it's still nice and pretty and I like it, so it works for me for sure.
Right.
I mean, hey, it's all
Yeah.
to you.
Exactly.
I for one, I have a few random altars around my room. I want to because also that's another thing. You can have as many as you want. Don't feel like you have to have one specific altar. You can do different ones because I'm really into fairies, and I have a book that teaches me a lot of different spells, and you can do an altar specifically for fire fairies or specifically for air fairies, and have an air altar. You can have different altars for specific intentions and different aspects of your life, so it doesn't have to be one general thing, because I have
Right.
I don't know how to switch my camera on here, to be honest. Not good. No, that's not it.
I have no idea what to tell you, to be honest.
I don't think you can.
This isn't going where I wanted it to, but it's okay. Yeah, if I can have this one in the corner, and that's just some flowers and little offerings and stuff. And then I have other ones that's over here for crystals that I'm using.
Yeah, I actually mine is very simple. I can't. I'm on my laptop, so I can't really show you. But I literally use a TV tray that I cover with an altar cloth because it's an ugly TV tray.
I love that. It's portable.
You don't have to use this elaborate thing. You just it fits where I need it to fit and it works. So I covered a tray with a cloth. And it could be any cloth. It could be a freaking scarf you have, that you really like. It doesn't have to be something specifically witchy or anything like that. And for me, I don't follow any deities or anything like that. So I have the elements on mine. I don't follow any one specific thing. So I have something that represents all of the elements: air, earth, water. I'm missing one: fire when I light the candle. So yeah, it can be anything you want. Anything you want.
Mm-hmm. I do think it's worth though that while it can be anything, it sometimes can be beneficial to have a specific design or whatever it might be on there for divination or for certain purposes. Different colors or designs might be more appropriate for different spells or your practice. I'm sure that they make altar cloths that have yes, no, type layouts, so you can divine that way. I'm sure Amber, even with your elemental one, you could divine that way.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Throw some runes down on that bad boy. Throw some crystals, whatever.
I totally could. Absolutely.
Ask a question, throw it in the cloth, see where it lands, and call it a day.
Right? That's not a bad idea, man.
Witchcraft.
I think I'm going to try that now. I've not done that one yet.
I have several different altars set up around my house. I do have a primary altar in my bedroom that does have the elements represented. And by the elements and the directions, north, south, east, west. And then we've got earth, air, fire, water, not in that order. But I've got like, so fire is south. And for me, how I represent that is I actually have a piece of charcoal that I took from a bonfire from a retreat that I had gone to that was very, very powerful. And I have that to represent fire. So I have things from my personal life. And I do not photograph or film that altar. Likewise, I also, when I do workings for other people, I do not post those altars. But I do have things around my house that if you saw them, you would not know that is an altar, as a matter of fact. I have this little pagoda that's got a crystal grid inside of it. I have another altar in plain view to the goddess Sekhmet that I constructed after Egypt. So, I mean, if you look at that, you would not know that's an altar. You would be like, oh, wow, that's a pretty figurine, you know. So altars can be in plain sight. And then if you're traveling, you know, my personal favorite is the Altoid altar, Altoid tin altar.
I love that.
Yeah. So you get like a tea light candle, having carry your lighter with you, a rock, a feather.
We have telepathy over
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. And like a dandelion seed or something like that. You know, and you just carry that all in an Altoids tin, and that's your travel altar. So
Yeah, I like that. Like when I went down to Tennessee, I just, you know, I had my little bag and I put some crystals in there. I just kind of had them with me. And it was nice. Like I just picked out ones that were like I kind of was drawn to.
yeah.
I couldn't tell you right off the top of my head. I'm not really good with that yet. So, yeah.
Saying what's up to everybody in chat.
Holly.
Daniel had a really cool comment earlier about Druidism. It's a famous
Yes,
craft.
I saw that.
Irish descent. Yeah.
Very
They believe in ley lines and energy of the earth and whatnot. So that's really cool.
holds that comment.
Ooh, ley lines. You guys, that's what I was talking about with Egypt. Egypt
Right.
and the bay that's in Hawaii. It's also another point on the lines. Yeah.
Were the chat
Absolutely.
up there? Or did you guys do that?
I can do that.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, that's so cool.
I have control. I have
Yeah.
power.
We love Pam.
By the way, Amber, your wig is looking phenomenal today.
Oh, isn't it?
Thank you. I gotta start wearing these bad boys. I have so many of them. They're just sitting in my closet.
Yes.
Love it.
It's like, okay, we're doing this on a weekly basis. I might as well put a new one up every week. Hey, what are you gonna say next week?
Right? Yeah.
Hey, we don't know.
Maybe green.
Maybe.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Yes. Cheers.
Oh, that's sweet, Jay. Thank you.
Hi, J420. How
Back
are you?
again.
How
Hey,
are
Stella.
you? Oh, thank you.
Looking really beautiful. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, sweetheart. There's ley lines in Scotland too. Is there, Jackie? I don't get that. Scotland is to me, Scotland is a magical place. Scotland and Ireland, that whole, I mean, it's magical.
I would love
You
to go
guys,
there.
like,
over there.
so I told you guys, you know, that I'm adopted. It was just like 2 years ago that I did a genetics test to like see what my ancestry actually was. And like, I want to go to Ireland so very badly, but I'm afraid that like, when I step off the plane and my foot touches the ground, that something's gonna happen.
You'll never leave.
Aw.
You know what I'm saying?
You're gonna be there forever.
Like no, like something's gonna happen. Like there's gonna be like a reconnect. It's just gonna be like, boom, like
Oh.
There's
I see.
something there, you know. Because I've been
Uh-huh.
looking out so much for ancestors because I don't have any blood ones that I know of in this lifetime. So like I've been reaching out so hardcore, and then like to get my ancestry report back and to see that, I was just kind of like, oh, no wonder I've always been obsessed.
Right?
So
My son's dad had Scottish in him, so that's kind of like I was brought into it with him, and Tristan now has Scottish in him, of course. So my baby boy is like Heinz 57, man. He's got a little bit of it.
oh god, I would love to go to school too.
They said there's lots of fairies there. Okay, I'm in. I'm on my way, booking a plane ticket.
Yeah, I'm on my way too.
Yeah,
Let's go.
with the accent. I'm sorry. I apologize for all womankind in this moment after setting us back because the accents.
Mhm. I have to agree.
Sorry.
I do have a Scottish accent. It is fucking sexy as hell.
Sorry. I'm setting back womankind. My apologies. Blame my biology. I can't help it. Okay.
I blame my
Yeah.
biology.
It's her answer.
So I'm thinking, wouldn't that be amazing to make a big coven trip to Scotland?
Don't.
Oh my gosh, yes.
with me.
Right? I know.
Do not.
I need to get my passport
And
anyway.
it's an idea. I mean, shit. It's not like we can't fucking plan for that shit.
Right?
Yes, we can.
I mean, of course, down the road, you know.
We got this. We are all going
We're
to
leaving tomorrow.
Hey, flights are cheap right now.
I know, right?
I still have to look. I still have to get up the money for the plane ticket to Hawaii.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We gotta
Well, that's
manifest that.
Right. Everyone, send your good vibes.
Yes.
Yeah, help me to
we should all
legally
Oh.
manifest $650.
Yes.
So
600.
I want to share our whole like cheersing thing with the world right now. Also, we
Yes.
like to our little
Okay.
ritual as witches is every time we smoke like or like leaving or entering, we're just like, okay, what are we cheersing to? What are we manifesting with this smoke? What are we setting ablaze?
What do we set in the place? I love that. Yes.
I had an
Every
answer for that, but
set an intention
Oh,
for the
girl.
goal, inhale that intention, take it all in, you know. And half the time, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, we're like, what is this bowl for? Big booty bitches, like half
Yes.
the
Oh,
time.
baby, that is our fucking thing right there.
Mhm.
Hell yeah. Okay, so that absolutely is how the Canna Coven does group hits. With intention. With intention.
an inside look, you guys. An inside look. Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun.
So intimidating. Ooh, witchcraft.
Jackie says I've got a really strong
Actually,
Scottish
here, I'll smoke a bong.
Say
That's
my-
like,
Jackie
They're
said
all
we can stay in her flat. I fucking love it.
Oh, Jackie, no.
okay.
I will hug you for an
I
inappropriately long amount of time.
Jackie, for opening your heart and your home
I
to
know.
us.
You are amazing.
At you.
Amazing,
smoke you out.
Jackie.
Yes,
we'll-
we'll smoke it out.
I'm just gonna look at the floor. Don't mind me.
Don't
I'm just making floor angels.
All right. Cheers to Scotland.
To
And
Scott.
bitches
Booty
May we
bitches.
be there one day.
that we will be there.
Yes,
We
we
will
will
be
be there
one
one
day.
day.
And we are going to meet Jackie.
Yes.
Oh,
That
yeah.
would be amazing.
Fuck yeah. Here it is. Right here, babies.
Oh, I
Big booty bitches.
Here.
Hell yeah. Edinburgh Castle. I want to go now.
No, don't. I'll find a Scottish man and I'll actually fall in love for once. Don't do it's a trap.
I want to do that.
Oh God. No, it's a bad idea. I'll be powerless. He'll like fucking read the phone book at me, and I'll be like, it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea.
Oh my god. Yeah, I would be too. I don't
Yeah.
like it.
By the accent.
The accent will do it in a fucking heartbeat. If you got a look and an accent, and then if you have a great personality and accept me for me, and then you
Basically, I love Gerard Butler.
Love you. You're so.
Yeah,
That's basically what it boils down to.
basically.
You just want your own.
God, he's hot.
Terrible. Bad idea.
Wait, is he British
Gerard, no.
or Scottish? Wait, I thought he was.
Excuse me, guys. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Stoners don't mind coughing. No, what's going on, honey? DeWorst or Sticky? All of you guys in chat I haven't said hello to. I'm so sorry.
This isn't Pornhub.
Is it?
No.
No, this isn't the worst. You are the worst.
Sorry.
You were waiting for that word. Holy liquor, that's a whole pile of stoner chickies. Yes, it is, no. We got a stony pile.
Girls.
Earlier when
What?
someone said there's a lot of fairies here, I thought they were talking about here in the chat, not in Scotland. There's a lot of fairies here. I was like, we are a lot of fairies.
Wait,
Yeah, you guys are a bunch of fairies. No, just kidding.
Hey, I do have wings, all right? You know, I do have a
that's
tattoo.
very.
I love it. My friend's link said bobs or boobs. Bobs. We don't got a bob. You're the worst.
Show me your bobs.
Show me your bobs.
Cheers to that, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, cheers to that.
I didn't hear that out loud.
My
Cheers
bobs.
to the bob.
Air
What
the
is Viagra?
lungs oxygen.
So does anybody have any altar or energy questions? Because we are a little over an hour, and we generally said we were going to keep this at an hour, but we are over an hour. So if we want to keep smoking and we want to keep partying, and we're not going to talk about witchcraft, we can just keep going. I don't give a fuck. But does anybody have any more questions?
Yeah. Cheech?
Yeah.
You got any?
What are like things I should, what are things that you should like buy or find for your altar or
Ooh. So I'm a huge fan of collecting things in nature. And when I say this, I mean, don't like pick live flowers. Like wait till something's fallen or something like that, like an acorn that's fallen from the tree. So things like that. And I know we had mentioned it last week, but like if someone is absolutely just gung-ho on getting some tools and some other things to display for their altars, white candles work for any spell, any intention, anything at all. They work for everything. So you can go buy like your local Dollar Tree or whatever and get like the little $1 votives. There's also these little candles that you can search for. They're called chime candles. And they're skinny and they're about that tall. And they burn in about 2 hours. So you'll also hear those referred to as spell candles sometimes.
Yes.
Spell candles also mean like a 7-day spell candle. That's just one candle you burn for 7 days, which is very different. But chime candles, offerings from nature. Yeah, there we go. Amber's showing off right now exactly what a chime candle looks like, guys.
Oh, yes.
Nice.
Little.
Matches her hair, and I love these colors. I'm sorry.
I know, that's awesome. That's awesome.
It's a little one.
220. Somebody's on the West Coast.
Topic to possibly touch on. Is there a way y'all incorporate culture, local or ethnic, into your craft or altar? That is an excellent question, Polka Dot. So yeah, and that's another, going back to however you want to uh, I guess hone in on your altar, how, you know, whatever you want to grab your energy from. Like I said, mine are the elements. If you want to have your religion, like, you know, there are, we said this in the first one, you can be Christian, you can be Catholic and still be a witch. If you want to put those saints on your altar, you can do that. You know, anything that you follow, you can do that. If you want to work with a specific deity, like T was saying, oh, who did we lose? Oh, we lost Pam again. She's going to come back. Watch. But yeah, if you want to put a specific deity for working for a specific reason, then you can do that. Like, you know, I don't work with deities, so that's definitely not my jam to even talk on. Anybody else want to talk on that one?
Sure. I actually do have the altar for Sekhmet that I had just talked about. Sekhmet is an Egyptian goddess. I can make that straight. You can see there.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it bigger real quick. Okay, hold it up.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
It's okay.
So.
Yeah, I know. That's awesome.
So this was because I went to Egypt and I saw the statue, and I actually had an experience that I don't want to reveal with it, and it was absolutely amazing. And this is not of my culture, you know, but I felt pretty, I don't know, it was a very, very powerful experience, and I had made a promise to Sekhmet that I would erect an altar to her when I got back to the States. And so even though it's not of my culture, for me, this is not cultural appropriation. This is me having a deep and profound love and respect for something of another culture, and I hold it in reverence. I don't have a statue because, you know, I'm stunting for the gram. Like that's not what this is about. And just like all things, it comes back to intent. So
yes, definitely.
That's my feeling on that.
Yes. I like I said, kind of towards the beginning, I like my ancestry is Jewish Germanic. That's where like both of my parents' ancestors come from. They're German Jews, and so I don't identify as a Jew in the sense of religious, you know, in the religious sense, but I do incorporate that definitely into my craft and my altar. I do definitely avoid anything obviously that's like requires an initiation or something like that, because there definitely are some absolutely closed practices that, you know, you should not really touch on. I think if you haven't been initiated, simply because, like for example, I think it would, as a Jewish person, I think it would be weird for someone who isn't Jewish to practice, you know, Jewish practices and call it Jewish, because that's not what Judaism is. That it's simply not Judaism. So there's definitely things like that. Obviously, there's definitely some big no-nos, like, you know, if you're just not Jewish, you're not Jewish, you know, things like that. There's big major no-nos, but as long as you stay in your lane and you know, only, you know, you can incorporate open practices, and obviously you can pretty much do anything. You can kind of make things up, you know, as you go along. You can do what feels right for you, you know. You don't have to necessarily have to follow spells from other people or things like that. So,
in regards to that, I want to say,
culture. Yeah,
sorry,
other cultures obviously influence all the time, and everyone has unique ancestry. So, there's so many like nuances to that conversation. But I think as long as you're in your lane and you're not like obviously appropriating a closed practice, you're all good. You know, as you're doing what feels right for you, and if it feels right for you, and you know it's not a closed culture, go for it.
Right.
I feel the same way. And in regards to kind of making stuff up as well, You know, there's people who take pop culture and use that as their deities. Like, for instance, Game of Thrones and, you know, Khaleesi. You know, they will use Khaleesi as a deity on their altar. You know, that's kind of what you can, whatever energy you want to draw from, that's what that altar is for. That's if you want to, if you want to draw from the energy of the love goddess, or, you know, the energy of, I don't know. I'm, like I said, I can't talk on the goddess.
It's the archetype that you want to bring in. So for me, and that's where I kind of like want to differentiate between like deity versus archetype, because I'm not inviting a deity into my house. I'm not like, I invoke thee. This is not the craft.
I'm sorry. I meant to say archetype in there.
Yeah, no.
The other one instead.
That's fine. And then that is a practice that people do. People do invoke deities, but that's not what we are talking about here.
Right. I meant to say the other.
Yeah. Just wanted to clarify that one real quick. But you can make an altar to any type of archetypal energy that you feel called to, or that you feel that you lack and you want to invite in to help balance you. And it's very, very important to be balanced.
Yes.
And protected, and have your boundaries in place, and have your grounding, have all of that in place before you move to the next step, which we will. Let's see. Next week, what are we talking about, guys? We're talking about tools, right?
Yeah, I think we're going into tools next week. There's a lot of different witchcraft tools that are both known and unknown.
Yeah.
Right.
And as always, look forward to hearing from you guys in chat or comments for watching later. If you've got questions, we would definitely love to answer those as well.
Absolutely.
Yes, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So,
Are we going to close this one out, ladies? Are we good? So,
Yes. Let's
yeah.
off with the ball.
Thank you to everybody in chat and all of the lovely things that everyone has said. I'm sorry if we didn't get to everyone, but we see them and we appreciate you.
I'm packing a bowl really quickly
We do
because mine
see
is
you.
not full.
Get on it.
We're going to smoke a final bowl. How about that? We'll smoke a final bowl and dedicate it to something cool.
Yes. What do you got? What ideas do you all have in chat?
or the bowl?
Amber.
What, baby? Oh, you know what? We're not going
If
to close
anyone
this
in the
sucker out
chat
yet. No, we're not. We're not. We're going to do a
Oh, yeah, actually.
She has her tarot cards next to her. We keep forgetting about this.
Yeah. Pool one. We're not diving deep.
No.
We are not diving deep. If you want to dive deep with these cards, you can go to Instagram and find Bakara W, BAKARAW. She goes live at 6 p.m. Eastern on Sundays to do a reading with this deck and one other. So I'm just giving them a quick shuffle.
So, yeah. Let's see what the cards want us to know today.
And
Hi, Wally.
here it is. What do we have? You're playing yourself.
Ooh. These are not kind cards, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are this is postcards from the liminal space. Bakara helped design these cards. They're amazing.
Hang on. I'm going to put you on big screen again. Do that one more time for me. I keep forgetting about the big screen thing. I really do. I'm terrible with this thing.
That's all right. There it is. You're playing.
You're playing yourself. All right. So give us an interpretation there, sweetheart.
So just real quick, without going into a deep dive, like it's very literal. Like watch out for the bullshit and the lies that you're telling yourself in this situation. Like, sorry, Postcards has a heavy hand. It's like the one witch in Pirates of the Caribbean, Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean with Johnny Depp, who's like, bring back the Witty Jack, Calypso.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look what these cards are. This is not Glenda the Good Witch cards. These are Calypso cards, and you will love every second of it.
Yes.
You will love getting slapped around by these cards.
Ask these women.
Yes. I love it.
What are we gonna smoke to, guys?
Yeah,
Where's
what-
it going?
I seen you all, and I'm like, oh shit, we're cheersing. Okay, fine. What should we cheers to?
You know. But Daniel, thank you so much for your participation.
Have an
Yes,
amazing
sure.
rest of the night. We appreciate all of your input and all of your
Yes.
good energy that you've shared with us. Thank you for the co-creation.
Yes. Thank you all so very much.
Absolutely.
Y'all are
Sunny or day
wonderful.
here, yes, for
We'll
sure.
see you next week.
Next Sunday. Same time, same bat motherfucking channel, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Cheers, big booty bitches.
Cheers.
Cheers, y'all.
Oh shit, I should have hit the bottom.
Did we interpret the card or did I miss it? Did I miss it?
We did.
I fucking missed it. I think I participated, but then I like. All right. So yes, tune in next week for tools if you want to figure out what the fuck tools the craft likes to use or can use.
Yes.
Or whatever we like to maybe create or collect, because we can be goblins when it comes to that.
For sure, for sure.
And some things are,
Bring
and
them
some
to
things
us.
are- right, and some things are not even that expensive, you would think. It could be something as like $1.
Exactly. Thrift store, dollar store, dude. You make those tools your own by putting your energy and intention into them. So we're going to touch on those tools that you can make your own next motherfucking week. So,
Yes.
see you next Sunday.
See you next
For
Sunday.
episode 3.
Next Sunday.
Love
Much
you.
love.
Mwah.
Mwah.
I love you all.